Hey guys, Paul McClain here. Welcome to the Monday Morning Wake Up Podcast. And guys, I'm excited to have my buddy Austin on today. In fact, Austin, I say this every week, and some weeks I really mean it, some weeks I kind of mean it. This week I really mean it, man. Like, this week is going to bring some great value to everybody leaning in, taking notes, excited to get this week started at a high level. And that's the desire and the goal I've got every week. I really do value everybody that says, hey, this is a priority to hop on. Some of you guys are hopping on live 7 a.m. on Monday, Pacific Standard Time. You're just getting the week going, and some of you maybe watch it throughout the week. But I value you and your time that you spend in making this a part of your weekly routine. And I want to serve you by having great guests on it. So today, guys, I've got a guy that last month on his own pen helped over 75 families. Now, I've done this for like 15 years. And for my first 10 years, I was in the field, and then I worked my way out of the field with the organization. And my first 10 years, Austin, I was a top 10 producer every year for 10 years. Mm-hmm. And I never helped 75 families in a month. So dude, like when you say that, like I'm kind of jealous. And I'm like, dude, I want to hear you unpack some of that stuff. And then on top of that, man, your team went out there and you helped 500 families as a team. So not only are you doing it, but you've been able to replicate or teach and duplicate yourself and what you've done and help others go out there and see the same thing. And that is what this is about, is where you leave this podcast this morning and you're better this week than you were that last week because of what you heard and what you can implement and take action on. And so, man, I just want to say, first of all, thank you and welcome to the podcast, Austin.
Thank you for having me, brother. I've literally watched these since the beginning, so it's kind of cool to be on here.
Man, dude, it's a privilege to have you on, man. And what I want to do is really kind of unpack some of these things that I believe would be like the highlight moments of your process, right? Mm-hmm. I do believe, Austin, that everybody that starts with Family First Life, or really any endeavor that might be new, their starting point might be different than somebody else, right? They came with different experiences, different upbringings, different backgrounds. Like everybody's different. But the moment you start, there's a process to be had to go out there and go from where you're at to where you want to go and the goals you want to accomplish. I do believe that process is different for everybody. I don't think it's the same. I do also believe, though, that if you can trust the process and you just put your head down over a period of time, you're going to get the same desired outcomes or goals that you want to have accomplished. I believe anybody can go out there and see that through if they follow that. I do also believe, though, along this process, Austin, there's some pivotal points where you can say in hindsight, like, man, it was that moment that all of a sudden I got it. Or it's when I made that change that all of a sudden that upped my game. And right. So these breakthrough moments, I think, are important. And I do believe a lot of people experience similar breakthrough moments, maybe at similar or different times based off of their starting point and the process that's before them. But, man, I'd love to have you unpack that, dude. Kind of talk about some of these breakthrough moments that you've had in your career and business. I mean, it's only been – when did you start with FFL?
Close to a year ago.
So close to a year ago, man. It ain't even been a year, and you're seeing the success. So, man, unpack that, dude. Talk about some of your breakthrough moments, some of the things you went through, and the success you're seeing now. What were some of the big points that kind of led to that, you believe?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So, again, like I said, thanks for having me on. It's a blessing, definitely for sure. But as far as moments that have helped me, I'm one of those people. I started out pretty hot. I was in the health insurance industry first. Came over, did 100% telesales, so it wasn't too much of a difference in transition. So my first month, I helped 41 families. And, I remember being on one of Andrew Taylor's podcasts, and he told me, he said, it's always good for someone to start off hot, but it also can be bad because once you start hitting those roadblocks, something you never felt before, it can either make you or break you. And so for me, once I started getting into the business and understanding more about things that were going on, I started, running into this and that. And the next step of the process was I wanted to build, right? But I was having a hard time teaching people or duplicating myself. So I would get someone to come in, they would have a great month, and they would fall off. Oh, man, I'm not connecting the dots somewhere. So I remember, Paul, I don't even know if you remember this, but it was not too long after the convention. I shot you a text, and I was like, hey, Paul, can we talk? And you responded, and you said yes. And I never responded to you. At that point, I was literally in my head like, man, I don't even know if I could do this. That's how bad it had gotten. But,
Austin, you went from having a month where you helped 40 plus families. And then shortly after that, you're in this moment of doubt, being so high, and fear and discouragement that you were considering leaving the industry.
Yeah, I was, because I didn't come from health insurance over here to just be a solo producer. The reason I came over here was because I wasn't able to duplicate myself over there. It was like a rat race. It was like you get people in that would come in and not the best situation and leave in a worse situation. And I'm not that type of person. I can't sit back and just allow that to happen. I'm a team player. I've always been a sports guy. I like seeing people win. I like seeing others succeed just as much as me. So for me to come over here and I was doing good, helping families, making money for my family, but going through the same struggles at that moment, it was a point where I was like, man, I don't think this is something I could do. So I remember texting you and saying, hey, can you talk? And you responded, you like, yeah, what's up, dude? And I didn't respond because I was like, I just got to keep fighting. I can't give up.
Well, dude, I think for one, that's encouraging for everybody watching this. I know that when you hear stuff like that, it should kind of get you to unmask maybe this fictitious belief that it's just all like, rose petals and fairies and like, it's just so beautiful. You know what I mean? Like, no, doubt and discouragement shows up at any stage, man. And, and that's, and the thing is this, man, like I remembered being the same way, like after being 7 years in the business, seeing great success, man. Success really, if I had to be honest, if I looked at my day one getting started, I would have, and you asked myself day one, like, dude, what do you expect? I'd be like, dude, if I could just like make a 6-figure check, bro, like that would be great. Cause nobody in my family's ever done that. Mm-hmm. And I had done that at such a higher level, even my first, second, third year in, now 7 years in, seeing, really comparatively speaking to what I expected, great success. I was like, if I had one bad day in the field, man, I'm thinking like, man, maybe I was lucky. Did I lose my touch? Like, and so it shows up at any time, right? It's something that you never can just do away with, right? And I love how Andrew said that. Like sometimes what you think is good can also affect you in a negative way, depending on how you respond in your approach to it. And I think that is a big deal. So if you're on here and you ask me, like, Paul, who would you rather have? Somebody that's got like the perfect rap sheet, man. Like they got 2 kids, man. The kids are, they're only 5 and 8, but they're already, graduating high school next year, and they've got Stanford in front of them, and their marriage has been absolutely perfect. They've never had a fight in their entire marriage. You know what I mean? Like all these different things. Or the person that's gone through a bunch of crap, man. Like maybe their parents, left them, and they had to go through and go through high school on their own, or they've had all these different situations and loss and adversity. Man, I take that person. You know what I mean? Because sometimes it's difficult once you get smacked, right? But you talk about like, how did you get past that doubt, discouragement, and keep moving forward when you had that first roadblock that really kind of messed you up?
Yeah. So for one, I stopped making excuses. That's easier to say than to do. But, ultimately, instead of reaching out to complain, it was reaching out to come up with game plans. So Josh Williams has been a pinnacle in that. He literally sat me down, mapped out my business, wrote everything down on a whiteboard, explained how the business really works, and gave me a great understanding for exactly how I need to go about. And I mean, he came in and blew it up. First 9 months, helped, 100+ families, whatever, 1,000 families. Because he did over $1 million. Yeah. So 1,000 families in 9 months, broke a record. So basically he broke down every single thing that he did. And that was about 4 or 5 months ago. And from there, I'll just try to follow that game plan. And, 4 or 5 months later, we helped 500 families. So that was definitely
that one conversation was pivotal, right?
Yeah.
So anybody that's on here now the thing is this, Austin, like you were already moving at a fast pace. It wasn't like you're working 12 hours a week and all of a sudden he told you this information and you started working 40, 50 hours. You already putting the work in and saying like, dude, look, I want to get here. I'm here. I'm no longer going to cast excuses, justification, or blaming into this path, because now as I kind of step forward, it's just almost like a quicksand I've casted before me and I'm drowning and I think I'm moving. You let go of the excuses. You said, I'm going to be responsible and accountable to take this to the next level. You found somebody that could give you feedback, but you're already working. So he knew when he was talking to you, like this is going to be seed that's sown in soil ground or fertile ground because you're actually moving. And that's the one thing I want to put as a disclaimer out there. If you're like, I need to have a talk with one of the managers or VPs or board members. That's where they've gotten to where I want to go. But the question is, are you doing everything you can right now, working nonstop, attitude activities at a high level? Because you've got to be in the right spot to be able to receive what they're telling you, or else you'll just hear the game plan. It'll fall on deaf ears, and it's going to be, seed that was just followed by the wayside, never actually had anywhere to grow some roots, right? So talk about what's the big thing that he said that you're like, that is what I got to do, because you're already moving. You're already 6 months in the business or what have you.
Right.
You had that conversation. What was the big thing that you took from what he told you that really kind of encouraged you to go out there and make some changes? Or maybe what was some of the big things that you changed because of what he told you? Kind of unpack some of that.
Yeah. So from a building standpoint, systems, right? Like just broke it down just like any other business out there. You got to have systems in place in order to be duplicatable. So one thing is we do telesales, right? So one thing that he always believes in is never sell in front just by yourself. So if you're selling, always be selling in front of somebody. So that's why we have a Zoom platform where, multiple new people are on there and they're able to watch our every move. And when they're selling, we're able to dissect their entire presentation. So I wasn't doing that before. So you really just, giving people a script, role playing with them a little bit. They will call you after a presentation and tell you how, in their head, how it went. And then you just kind of give them advice on that. But I mean, Paul, you've been in this business long enough. You know what they tell you, how the conversation went and how it really went is going to be a little different. So to be right there for every conversation, they be right there for all of my conversations. That was a huge piece and just making it a little bit more duplicatable. And then from there, the hardest thing in the business is, developing the next leader. All right. So focusing in on those people that are showing up every day, doing what they need to do, develop them into being your next leader. Now you can delegate and it's going to take the weight off of you.
I love that, dude. I mean, two very important things. Everybody on here today can take that and put it into action. Are you plugged into a Zoom dial team or an office where you can put yourself in a position where people can see you working? It works, man. Austin, I remember, going in the field and every week I'd go run my production. And to be honest, man, like there'd be times where I crushed it for the day, dude. Like it's like I couldn't mess it up, man. I could walk into somebody's house and tell the client that they smelled funny, and I still write it up, dude. Like it did not matter, dude. I was closing, right?
Right.
It was one of those days, not that I said it, but it's just like nothing could go wrong. And I'd get to my last appointment, and it'd be like, I get out of my 7:30 at 8:15. I'm running late to my 8 o'clock. I'm gonna get there at 9. And there's a lot of times where I'm like, dude, I don't know. Dude, like I could just reschedule it. Like I'll just push it back. But whenever I had a new agent or somebody with me looking at me, like I would always go because I wanted to set the right example. I guess just like having kids, I mean? I did a lot more stupid stuff before I had my first one. And I'm like, and then I think like, she's actually looking at me and watching. And then when I said that one thing, she kind of copied it. I don't think she should. I don't want her copying that. Right. And so you start, choosing the right behavior. And so if you can put yourself in an environment that allows you to choose the behavior that's going to more align yourself with success, man, that's most of it. And that's easy. That's just saying, I'm going to hop on the Zoom dial team, right? And then the second thing is, as you're building business, is to make sure that you're investing in helping the people that want to be helped. Yep. Now, the question to that I think some people are maybe wondering, and I've wondered this. Well, Austin, how do you know the person that could be your next up and coming leader? I mean, everybody's kind of got in it, but the person that's like, they're willing and ready to be coachable, to be molded, to get uncomfortable and take what you're telling them and put it into practice. Like they're ready, man. They're able, they're ready. Like, how do you identify that person?
Yeah, great question. So that's something else I talked to Josh about. And one thing that I had to get better about is setting the proper expectations up front. So now when I go to hire or recruit, I'm telling people, hey, I'm recruiting for managers in training. These are the expectations. These are the things that can qualify you for this from day one. So they already know. And if they do these things throughout, then that's how I know they're on the right path to become, my next leader.
What are those things, Austin?
Simple things like showing up every single day, right? Being on Zoom all day, every day, helping people, always selling in front of people. Really just doing the things that you should be doing anyway. But when they see a checklist and they voice that this is what they want to do, then now they know, okay, this is what I want to go by. Because a lot of times we try to push on someone, hey, you're my next leader. And they don't even really want it. But they don't want to tell you no either. But when you give them these expectations and they tell you from day one, this is what they want to do, and they actually go out and execute, it's simple from there. So it's nothing crazy, but just, show up every single day, sell in front of people, buy at least twice a week, do all the things that you're supposed to do.
I love that, man. So the person that actually wants to say, hey, I want to take that leadership on, I want to go out and build a business. When you give them the expectation, they're going to go out there and intentionally work towards that to show what they desire to be. Exactly. But the person that doesn't, they probably don't even pay any attention to it. They probably just goes in one ear at the other, like, okay, sounds good, man. Because they're not ready to go out there and get uncomfortable and make those changes and step up, right? And so I love that, dude. And I think that's important with everything, man. I think even the person that's saying, hey, I want to accomplish these big goals, have you put down the expectation of what it's going to require you as far as sacrifice and time and effort and resources and money and all those things, energy, emotion? Have you calculated the cost? Because if you're not willing to pay the price, you're not going to take the action to go out there and sacrifice, right? And so I think it's important to have the right expectations. It's easy to say, man, I want to go out there and build this business. I want to go help 70 families. Okay. But do you? Are you willing to do what Austin did? Because I'm telling you, my boy was dialing later than most people were dialing. He was doing. He was present and putting more in. Do you want to do what they've done? And I think that's an important thing to actually kind of, to factor in, weigh out. Are you or are you not? Right. All right. Last question I've got for you, Austin. And it's kind of similar to the one I've asked, but maybe it'll give a different, angle on it to maybe find an additional thing to highlight. Because guys, listen, man, Austin's been here for less than a year and he's helping 70 plus families on his own personal production. Like that pays really well. Does that make sense? Like that's not a bad, that pays really well. And then also he's out there helping 500 families as a group. This has been less than a year. So Austin, if you were paid as if a consultant, right? So you hired yourself, your company hired you and you're talking to yourself and looking at your organization and group and team and personal sales. And you were to give yourself some feedback and say, hey, this is what you want to adjust, tweak, or maybe it's day one. Austin, these are the things that you're going to want to do. Like, what kind of feedback, what kind of advice would you give your business, yourself, your organization, if you're paid as a consultant looking in and talking to you right now about it? What would that look like?
So you said if it was day one?
Yeah. So day one, you're coming in as a consultant saying, hey, let me tell you some stuff.
Yeah, there's a ton of advice. So, I mean, for starters, surround yourself with those that are doing what you want, right? Ask questions, ask the right questions. But for starters, like you said, you want to show up and be doing the right things. And then that way, I'm not just coming to Paul, hey, Paul, how'd you get where you're at? But I'm coming to Paul, hey, this is what I'm doing, any critiques, right? So that's number one. I would say make sure you're doing everything that you're supposed to be doing, which is showing up, buying your leads twice a week, whatever expectation goals you have. For us, it's 25 presentations a week. That's the target. So making sure you're doing all those things that we set you up for success. And then from there, surround yourself around people that are actually winning and doing what they're, what you want in the business. So if that's Paul McLean, he's a monster, he's a beast, reach out to him. Hey, Paul, this is where I'm at. What did it, when you were in my position, what did you change or tweak in order to get to, where you are now, or to go from 500 families to 1,000 families in a month? I would say that's a huge thing. I would say have patience. That's huge. That's one thing I've definitely had to learn. I'm not one of those people that is the most patient. I have children, so that helps a little bit. But when it comes to business, I just want to run as fast as I can. But sometimes you got to slow down, weigh everything out. So I try to look at everything in 90-day increments. I give myself 90 days, look back at how everything went and start game planning from there. But I would say have fun, fall in love with the process. The process is the most important thing. I talk to people, all the time that are extremely successful in the business. And one of the most fun things that they can remember is, door knocking, or, those early presentations that they did, or, some of the rough days in the car. And then they run until 9-10 o'clock at night and go help the last family, and it made up for the whole week. Like, those are the things that they miss. So I would say, in the beginning, just fall in love with the process, enjoy every step, because as long as you keep running in this business, there's no way you won't be successful. The only people that don't win are the people that quit. So it just everybody's time frame is a little different as far as when they get to that success. But I would just say, enjoy the process and on your way there.
I love it, man. I think that might have been one of the best tips spoken on the podcast. Because if you don't, man, it's just like, it's only a matter of time before you'll hang it up for the wrong reason. You'll sell your dream out for a very low cost. And I remember hearing this one time said, and it made sense to me. It was said, the dream is in the duty, right? In essence, like, it's in the work, man. It's in the progress. It's in the process. And if I go back and look at, some of my most fulfilling seasons and stuff in the business in the last 15 years, it's tied to that, man. It's when it's just like, you're giving it all you've got, man. You know what I mean? You're growing, you're stretching, you're giving it all. It's not the destination that fills you up, man. It's the progression through that journey that fills you up. And when you have some fun doing it, I mean, like, why would you want to endure, like a year, 2, 3 years, however long it takes you to get to whatever your desired goal is? Man, the dream is in the duty. It's in the process to get there. And then when you get there, it's like, okay, this is great, but let me just continue to put that work in and go out there and step up and level up to get to the next part. So very well said, man. Guys, I hope this has served you well. Make sure to like, to subscribe, to share this if you want to make a difference. Maybe just sharing this would be something that is what exactly specifically the person that watches it, they would never watch it if you didn't share it, but now they watch it and it makes a difference for them. And so, guys, comment below. You're also going to be in the drawing for lead money that Casey's getting ready to go and read the winners for last week. So, guys, let's go out there and make it a massive week. Austin, again, man, thank you so much, dude. It was very good, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate it, brother.
All right, guys. Hey, be strong, stay steadfast, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
What's up, guys? You know what time it is. We're getting away $250 worth of leads to 4 lucky people. If you commented on last week's podcast, which is playing right here, you're automatically entered to win $250 worth of free leads. So leave a comment on this video right now so you can win next week. It's that easy. Leave a comment and you can win some free leads to use for your personal production. It's a great system and it's really simple. So again, leave a comment. Let's see who our first winner is. Carolyn MK, live by your non-negotiable standards. Don't sabotage your goals with excuses, justifying, blaming, and complaining. Instead, have gratitude and a positive attitude. Never pass along negatives to others. Be excellent in everything you do because it will lead to freedom. Great comment. Second winner is Chris Logan IV. I really have not been setting a standard. I've been negotiating my dreams. It's those things that I tell myself that it hurts me more than anyone else around me. My non-negotiables are on the phone by 7:30, 500 calls or 2 sales, and spending at least 1 hour recruiting. Love it. Third winner is Marisa Maggio, intentionality in every area. And our fourth winner is Rosa Nepp. My number one standard will be coming to the office Monday through Thursday to dial, then have the rest of the week be with my family. Guys, it's that simple. Just leave a comment and you can win some leads so you can write more business and make more money for your family. It's that simple. Leave a comment. Take care. Winners, get in contact with Victoria. Her phone number is going to be right over here, and we'll see you next week. Take care.